Hello, my name is Jason Anker. 28 years ago, when I was just 24 years old, I was married. I had 2 young children. At the time, I was working for a roofing contractor on a building site. I was not a roofer by trade. But it was the time of the 90s recession. Work was hard to come by. January 3rd, 1993, the first day back after the Christmas break. It was a really cold, foggy, icy day. We was asked to do a job repairing a large flat roof, one open edge with full scaffold edge protection, a secured out for access. It was a pretty safe job. But then around 2:30 in the afternoon, things changed. The rush job came in, the unplanned work, and was asked if we could get a 2-hour job done in just 1 hour. So we decided we would give it a go. Back across from the boss, he went up onto the roof, but I was stood at the bottom because something wasn't right. The ground conditions that day were terrible. The ladder was not secured. So I had done the correct thing by stopping. But unfortunately, I didn't have the courage to speak up. And then I thought to myself, well, these guys, they know what they're doing. So I climbed the ladder, I got on the roof, and we got the job done. And by the time we finished, I was the first one down. But the ladder is now being footed. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I get to the bottom rung. The guy who was footing it, thinking I was down, he moves away. But I was called back up the ladder. And to go back up, I get about halfway, I feel the ladder slip, and I fall. I can remember it on the ground, a little bit winded, but I actually thought to myself, I'm okay. It was only after I'd sit up was the first time I became aware I couldn't feel my legs. I couldn't feel my legs. But ambulance was called. I rushed to the local hospital. By the time I arrived, my wife was already there. And initially, I was taken for an X-ray. I took inside to wait for results, and the door opened. The doctor walked in with a big smile on his face. And I can remember looking at him thinking, well, if he's smiling, this is going to be good news. He came to the side of the bed and said, you have been very lucky. You are suffering from a condition known as spinal shock. You had a real nasty fall. And hopefully over the next couple of hours, a couple of days, it could even be a few weeks, you will gradually get all your sensations back. Just think yourself very fortunate. But he then sent me for a CT scan for a closer look, just to make sure. So I go off the scan, I come back in the room, wife, she was now sat at my side. This time the door opens, he walks in, and he's not smiling. And straight away, before he'd even spoke to me, I knew. This time he came, he sat at the side of the bed and said, we have found a small fracture in your back, and you have suffered massive spinal injuries. And then he simply said, you'll never walk again. And with that, he just stood up and he walked out of the room. I then went for a major operation. 2 turning rods were put in the back, and then I was transferred to a spinal rehabilitation hospital 50 miles away from where I lived, and told, you are going to be there for up to 6 months. Now, I still truly believe I'd been sent there to learn how to walk. That was just the start of my journey. And over the coming months, you will hear the full version of my presentation. But today, my story is not just about the safety accident, it's also looking at how my health and well-being have been affected, and maybe had they influenced that poor safety decision I made that day at work.